Hello guys, this is Sushant and I would like to welcome you to our new section of electronics. So in this section we are going to study about what basically is electronics, the various devices which are involved in it, the characteristics, the working part of it, and we are going to understand the applications of different devices. Electronics is a branch in physics which involves the study of movement of electron through different devices, the control of the flow of electron through these devices. The electrons can also be flowing through various gases, vacuums, conductors, semiconductors, etc. It also involves the designing of the various circuits which involves transistors and microchips. So today's chapter is going to be dealing with the study of semiconductor material. Today we are going to start with the topic semiconductor material. Now semiconductor material is the very basic building block of an electronic system. If you are going to study any subject which is related to electronics, you have to understand the basics of semiconductor devices and semiconductor materials. So before we start with the semiconductor materials, let us try to understand one basic definition which is called as conductivity. Now conductivity is a property which a material bears. The properties is that the property of a material to allow the flow of electron is called as conductivity of a material. So it is the allowing of the flow of electron through that material is conductivity. Based on conductivity, materials are divided into three categories. The first category being the conductors, second being the insulators, and the third being the semiconductors. Now conductors are those devices which allows or gives easy access for the flow of electrons through them. Insulators are those devices which do not allow at all the flow of electrons through them. Semiconductors are those devices which have their conductivity in between insulators and conductors. So they allow the flow of electron but not that much as in conductors, and they do not also oppose that much as in insulators. Understand how this happens, like how is a conductivity defined. One of the criteria which defines the conductivity of a material is by using something called as the energy band diagram. When we have to understand the energy level diagram concept, we are going to consider Bohr's atomic model for a silicon atom. Silicon has an electronic configuration of 2, 8, 4. That means it has 2 electrons in its innermost orbit, 8 electrons in its second orbit, and 4 electrons in the outermost orbit, which are the valence electrons. The electrons present in different orbits will possess different energy levels. The energy levels will be increasing as they are going further away from the nucleus. So, the energy level of the electrons present in the innermost orbit, which are the 2 electrons, will possess this energy level. The second orbit electrons will have this energy level, and the outermost orbit electrons will be having the maximum energy level. The energy level basically indicates that this is the amount of energy which the electron requires for it to be removed from its orbit. So the electrons present in the outermost orbit will require the minimum energy than that which is required for the electrons present in the second orbit and that to the first orbit. When we are considering any device, we cannot consider only a single silicon atom for any semiconductor device. Because of this, so if two atoms are coming together, the electrons present in the first orbit will have two different energy levels. So will be the electrons present in the two different second orbit and two different third orbit. So if the number of atoms present in the vicinity increases, there will be increase in the number of discrete energy levels for different orbits. As the number increases, what occurs is there is a band formation. This band formation is basically because of the high density of the energy levels for different orbits which are coming together. They seems like a band formation, that is why this is no longer a single energy level state but formation of energy bands. Each band denotes the various energy levels which the electron can possess if it is in different orbits. Now we have understood what is this energy levels or formation of the energy bands. Now for understanding of a semiconductor device, we don't have to consider the lower two bands or the innermost bands which are present. We just have to understand the outermost band and one more band which is called as the conduction band. The outermost band is called as the valence band and the other band is called as a conduction band. This other band is basically that band in which the electrons are going to be in free state, or the electrons are free to move about the material in this particular band. So whenever an electron is moving about in that material, it will be having that particular energy level which is represented by the conduction band. When you see this particular diagram, you might see there is a gap present over here. This gap is called as a forbidden energy gap. Now, as you know that electrons have specific energy levels only. There are certain levels which it cannot possess. Now, this gap represents that the electrons present in that material cannot have any energy level which is present in this forbidden energy gap. The minimum energy which is required for an electron to jump from the valence band to the conduction band is what defines the material being a conductor, an insulator, or a semiconductor. Depending on the value of this energy required, they are bifurcated into the three categories which we have discussed. When this energy gap has the value 0, then that particular material which has that is called as a conductor. That means the electrons, if they want to jump from the valence band to the conduction band, they require almost zero energy to do so. They can freely go from the valence band to the conduction band levels as they want. So that is why they are good conductors of electricity, because of the easy availability of the electrons for conduction purpose. For insulators, this value of energy gap is above 5 electron volts. So if we want to provide the energy for the electron to jump from the valence band to the conduction band, it is simply impossible to do so because of the sheer amount of energy which is required for the jump from the valence to the conduction. For semiconductor device, the forbidden energy gap is of the value 1 electron volt. So because of the sheer number, it is possible for an electron to jump from the valence band to the conduction band by absorbing certain energy. Now this energy can be provided by help of heat energy, or it can also be provided with the help of electric energy. Let us try to understand the different types of semiconductor materials available to us. There are basically two types. The first type is intrinsic semiconductor material and the second type is extrinsic semiconductor material. Intrinsic semiconductor materials are basically the purest form of a semiconductor material available to us. The purity level is so high that there is only one impurity present for 10 billion of atoms of the pure intrinsic material. To understand intrinsic semiconductor material, we have considered the example of silicon. Silicon is one of the semiconductor material which is widely used in electronic systems. Silicon has a valency of 4. Since it has valency of 4, it forms generally a covalent bond. A covalent bond is nothing but sharing up of electrons. In this, since it is of purest form, it will be forming 4 bonds with its neighboring 4 atoms. Each bond is represented by this particular figure, and these dots represent the electron which are being shared. This particular configuration will be available at very low temperatures, about absolute 0 degrees Celsius. At that time, there are no free electrons which are present in the material. The electrons are held by the atoms very tightly and are not available for conduction. In this particular region or in this particular condition, my silicon is acting as a pure insulator, since there are no electrons which are present for conduction. As the temperature increases, what occurs is, because of the thermal energy being provided to the material, the electron starts absorbing that particular temperature. Since the electrons are absorbing this energy is converted by the electron into kinetic energy. So whenever an electron possesses so great energy that it can jump from the valence band to the conduction band, it becomes free in nature. Whenever the electron leaves its bond, there is a valency which is created. This valency is positive valency and it is termed as holes. In intrinsic semiconductors, these electrons and holes are always formed in pairs. The amount of electrons which are present at room temperature is about 1.5 into 10 raised to 10 free electrons per centimeter cube. The second type of semiconductor materials are extrinsic semiconductor materials. Extrinsic semiconductor materials are nothing but the altered version of an intrinsic semiconductor material. If we take an intrinsic semiconductor material and we add in some impurities in them, then we get an extrinsic semiconductor material. The process of addition of impurities is called as doping. Depending on the type of impurity, there can be two types. The first type is an N-type semiconductor material and the other type is a P-type semiconductor material. So going on to the first type, that is N-type semiconductor material. The first type of an extrinsic semiconductor material is a N-type semiconductor material. In this, the impurity which is being added is a pentavalent material. Now pentavalent materials can be phosphorus, antimony, etc. So pentavalent means it has 5 valence electrons. So whenever a pentavalent impurity is being added to an intrinsic semiconductor, in this case we have taken phosphorus as our impurity. Phosphorus, being a pentavalent atom, will form 4 bonds with the neighboring silicon atoms, and it will remain with a single electron which is loosely bound to it. This electron can go into the conduction band easily by acquiring very small amount of energy. For understanding of N-type semiconductor material, we have taken an example of impurity as phosphorus. Phosphorus is a pentavalent material. That means in this particular arrangement, it can form 4 covalent bonds with the neighboring silicon atoms. But since there are 5 electrons, the 5th electron cannot form any bondage with any of the silicon atoms present. Since the electron is very loosely bonded with phosphorus, it can jump into the conduction band with very small amount of energy and provide conduction in the material. Because of this addition of an impurity atom, we can see that the conductivity of that material has increased many folds. The second type of extrinsic semiconductor material is a P-type semiconductor material. In this, the impurity which we use is a trivalent impurity. Trivalent means it has 3 valency. The example can be boron. In this particular example, we have taken boron as the example. Boron has 3 valencies, so it can form 3 covalent bonds with the silicon atom. It is not able to form the 4th bond with the silicon atom. So because of this, there is a valency which is being created, which is a positive valency. This valency, as we know, is a hole. This hole is helpful in conduction of electricity through it. The conduction of electricity is possible because of the presence of a positive charge in this particular bond. So what it tries to do is it tries to acquire electron towards it. It attracts electrons towards it. So it can attract any electron in the neighborhood and satisfy its valency and nullify itself. But because the electron has been snatched out from this particular bond, there is a hole which is created. So you can see there is a transfer of hole which is occurring in this case. You have to always remember, in a semiconductor device, electrons are conducted in the conduction band and holes are conducted in the valence band. This is how conduction of electricity is possible in any semiconductor device. Next we come to the very major concept which is called as minority and majority carriers in semiconductor device. Now, minority means the carriers which are less in number and majority means the carriers which are high in number. In case of intrinsic semiconductor device, there cannot be majority or minority carriers because of the fact that number of electrons is equal to number of holes. The number of electrons which are developed will create equal number of holes. So that is why in an intrinsic semiconductor there is no majority or minority carriers. While in case of an N-type material, we know that the number of added impurity creates number of electrons. So whatever number of atoms which are added as impurities, those many number of electrons are generated. Now there can be extra electrons generated because of the same concept which we have seen in intrinsic semiconductor device, because of the thermal effect. Because of this thermal effect, there can be electrons which are present in the covalent bond which can acquire that energy, convert it into kinetic energy and jump from the valence band to the conduction band, and in doing so they leave a positive valency in the bond which is called as holes. So that is why in an N-type material the majority are of electrons and minority is of holes. Then if we come for P-type material, the reverse is true. As we know, in a P-type material, there is excess holes which are present because of the number of added impurities. Now, in that case also, because of the thermal energy provided to the device, there can be electrons and holes which are generated. This electron hole pair plus the holes which are present because of the added impurity, the majority is of holes and the minority is of electrons. So we conclude this lecture with this topic. In the next topic, we will be seeing how to form the very first device in electronics, that is PN junction diode. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any doubts, please do share in the comment section. For information, you can go and look it in the about page. It will also give you the schedule of the videos which will be coming up in the month. Do like and share and subscribe our channel. This will help make more videos like this on different topics. Do watch videos on other topics also. Thank you and keep learning.